Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're once again going to be taking a look at another Studio Series figure, this time of course being Ratchet, inspired by the Transformers Bumblebee solo movie. And I'll say it straight away, honestly this is probably the most fun I've had with a Studio Series wave for so long. Honestly, every single one of these figures have just been super smashing, and sadly we are unfortunately coming to the end of this line. We merely just have Ironhide and RC yet to go, and then that pretty much concludes this chapter. And I really hope we can see Hasbro approach the likes of maybe a Bumblebee movie inspired Megatron, Sideswipe. Honestly, if they could begin actually producing some concept characters, I know many of you would be lapping them all day and all night, as they are just so nicely done. These are probably some of the best mainline figures that have been released, at least in the last 18 months in my opinion. Now we'll waste no time at all and of course get stuck straight here into the review. You can see that Ratchet has actually never looked better. This is a major departure from his previous movie incarnation, this time of course sporting a way more traditional G1 colour scheme, and I actually think he looks really nice. You can see where the detailing is concerned, that mouth looks great. You can once again see some fantastic mechanical detailing, and surprisingly we do in fact actually see the return of light piping, which once again is a super nice touch. So the entire back of the head's cast out of blue plastic, and if you actually get a pretty decent light source through that, it does really bring this character to life. Now as we take a look here at the neck region, once more you can see a very nicely detailed sculpt, and the actual chest unit is just so distinguished. This honestly really doesn't resemble anything that we've seen previously, and I think the cast blue plastic looks great, the white paint looks awesome, and so does the silver. You can see the Autobot insignia slap bang there in the center, and the actual torso region as well looks super nicely done with that mesh detailing, and of course that really nice shade of metallic red. Now as we take a look here towards the shoulders, once more the mechanical detailing does continue, and much like we saw with Brawn, if you actually hinge the arms out, it does reveal some very nice sculpt work here in the interior, which is a super nice touch. Now as we flip here to the back of Ratchet, considering that he is a little more bigger of a deluxe, sadly there are some hollow spaces, so pretty much the entire torso is hollowed out, as so are the insides of the arms, and you will also see here for the back of the legs. But they've tried their best to detail this, so you can see there some nice hydraulics. We've also got some really nice detailing here of where the actual back of the wheels are concerned. And as we flip here once more to the front, you can see the sculpt work for the elbows looks really cool. I love the gunmetal that we've got here, as well as the grey for the actual forearms. Sadly the wrists have not been cast out of the red plastic like we saw in the movie, but I'm pretty certain it wouldn't take much to in fact actually paint them. And you can see the finger detailing looks awesome. I think the proportions are really nicely done. If anything, this is actually giving me Transformers Prime vibes more than G1 vibes, as of course Ratchet was definitely a little bulkier in TF Prime than his previous incarnations, and I really do think he looks super impressive. I can just imagine this guy actually taking down many Decepticons and definitely living up to the name of the Doctor of Doom. You can see here for the actual thigh region, once more, some very nice looking details. Sadly some hollow spacing which doesn't look the best, probably some of the worst that we've seen, but once again really not all that bad. And of course considering he's slightly larger, I am in fact easily able to forgive that. You can see here some nice grey detailing, some nice red stripes. They have tried their best in order to replicate the movie design, so we do have a faux wheel here on the side, whereas the real wheels are in fact actually here and within the torso region, but honestly don't think it looks too bad at all. And the actual foot design as well as sculpt work here once more looks really impressive. Now as we turn to Ratchet's articulation, surprisingly he's got a really good range here at the head, so this is on a ball joint and it can look up and down, tilt side to side, as well as of course rotate left to right. We do in fact get a full rotation here at the shoulder, a hinge joint out to the sides, full rotation here at the bicep, as well as a slightly past 90-degree range of motion here at the elbow. Sadly no wrist rotation, and you can once again see that awful ghastly gap that we've got going on here for the arm. We do indeed get a full waist rotation, which is great, and as we come here to the legs, these can kick forwards that far, as well as back to that far, out to the sides, full thigh rotation, as well as due to transformation, a slightly past 90-degree range here at the actual knee. And finally for the foot, this too, also due to transformation, can pivot forwards and backwards, as well as of course rock side to side. So overall, in regards to detail as well as articulation, this guy is honestly just as well done as some of the previous figures that we've taken a look at, such as Brawn and Wheeljack. Now he does in fact come with one accessory, that being this massive blaster that we do in fact see him very briefly use in the movie. This is really similar in design to the one that we saw with Wheeljack and Brawn, although I can confirm it is indeed a complete brand new sculpt. You can see some really nice mechanical detailing, albeit just cast out of this gunmetal. Now there are in fact a few ways of which you can store it on Ratchet, so as we spin here to the back, once more really nice detail. You will see here a port that this tab will indeed peg into, so you can in fact actually sling this on his back, which is super cool. So maybe if an Autobot is in aid, he can run into battle and in fact fix them up, and then of course pull the blaster from his back in order to take down the enemy Decepticons, and you can in fact actually peg it into either of the wrists, and I think he looks super awesome. That is just such a wicked blaster, so big. Literally all of these Cybertronian weapons are just super intimidating, and once more I just cannot wait to see them actually utilize these designs in the upcoming Transformers Rise of the Beasts movie. And here, turning to a Cybertronian Autobot comparison, of course, we've got Ratchet compared amongst Optimus, Bumblebee, Brawn, as well as Wheeljack. And not only is he a tremendous figure, but honestly, these designs just look so awesome. As an actual group shot, these are the Autobots that we should have gotten in the first place, and I'm just so stoked for the Rise of the Beast movie, honestly. But actually taking a look here at the figure, you can see scales so nicely with these guys. Of course, considering it's Ratchet, he's a little bigger than some of the other Deluxes, and this will no doubt be the basis that we'll see for the upcoming Bumblebee movie Ironhide, of which I'm super excited for, as Ratchet, of course, is a very, very nicely done figure, but definitely super, super awesome unity amongst these particular Autobots. And wrapping up here for robot mode comparisons, of course, we had to bring out the previous live-action version of Ratchet, that being this Dark the Moon version, and in all honesty, whilst I loved the older Bayverse design, I really do love the actual Travis Knight design. I think it's so awesome. Once more, a great blend of the old and the new, and truly is Ratchet. It's Ratchet down to a T, probably one of the best designs we've seen for this character so far, but I just thought it'd be cool to in fact showcase the evolution. Of course, the older Michael Bay version is indeed a little bigger than our new Knightverse version, but definitely, literally, there are no similarities between these guys at all. They are indeed worlds apart in terms of design. And so now for transformation, to be honest, probably one of the most intricate, and out of all of them took me the longest to actually get the hang of, as there are indeed quite a few steps, but once you do actually get the gist of it, it can actually be rather enjoyable. So to begin with, you are going to want to center the head here, just like so. We can then come to these wrists and just attach those, fold them within the hollow space, of course, come to this side and click that in. We can then flip our attention here to the back, just untab this section, and then bring these two halves here to the front. We can now fold this out and actually bend backwards here at the elbow and come to this side and repeat the same process. You'll then want to take this gunmetal region and in fact actually shift this forwards, as this tab does indeed actually lock this entire region into place. We can then come here and lift this panel up, and you can see how they have in fact almost sculpted a cutout for Ratchet's actual crest. So you are just going to want to sort of pull that forwards, and then that will allow you to completely split this entire section just like so. Now what we're going to do is spin all the way around so that we're left with something along the lines of this. We can now rotate here at the thigh, and of course come to this side and repeat the same process. You'll then want to fold in the foot, and of course do the same here, and essentially just fold this in so that the foot now in fact actually sits on this flat section where this tab is. Now, really nice touch is this sculpted in piece, which is something that we actually won't see in robot mode nor vehicle mode. It's specifically just here for transformation, which is really nice. So just fold these here in upon themselves. We can now take the wheels and in fact actually flip them here until they click into their front positions. Of course, come to this side and click that section in. And now as we come to the back, you are indeed going to want to bring this entire region forward, and you can see we've got two transparent tabs there that will peg into these slots. So just snap that in there, and then we'll come to this piece, and this here will clip into place. We can then take this piece here, ratchet this entire section back, and you can see that we've got a tab here that will indeed peg into this slot here, and then we've also got a slot here on the top section of the foot that this tab on the actual forearm will peg into. So ratchet these sections forward. You are going to want to peg this larger tab in first, so just snap that in there, and then we can come to this side and of course just peg that in, and you can see we've got a tab that will peg here into this slot, and then of course a slot that will peg there into that tab. So just snap that in like so, flip here to this side, and of course repeat the same process. So shoot this larger tab in first, and then just peg that into place. Take this, snap that in there, and then we've got Ratchet fully transformed up into his super awesome, rather futuristic Cybertronian Alt mode. Now this to me looks like something that's stepped straight out of the Aliens movie. This really does look like a lunar cruiser. It looks super impressive, and surprisingly, despite him being one of the largest deluxes in robot mode, he actually compresses into a rather stocky, very compact vehicle mode. You can see in regards to the detail, the front section just looks super cool. Of course, that same plastic that we saw in the bot mode, but of course this time being the front windscreen. You can see a slight difference where the white paint and of course plastic is concerned, but honestly it's coming across a little worse on camera than it is in person. You can see some nice sculpt work here towards the top. I imagine he's supposed to be some form of Cybertronian ambulance, and you kind of get that vibe here with these red stripes on the sides. But you can see some very nice detailing. As per tradition, the Cybertronian wheels just look so sick, and here at the back you can once more see some really nice rear detailing. So overall, in terms of a Cybertronian vehicle, once again blends in so nicely with some of the other characters we've seen, and this wasn't a mode that we ever actually saw in the film. So despite them actually giving him this really solid vehicle, it doesn't compromise the look of his bot mode at all. So once again, much like Brawn and Wheeljack, super impressive. Now in regards to weapon storage, much like some of those other figures, you can take the blaster here and just snap that there in the top, and of course course have Ratchet blasting down his Decepticons as of course he's racing into battle, trying to fend off evil and of course protect the Autobots. So rounding things off, here we have Ratchet compared amongst some of the other Cybertronian vehicles, that of course being Wheeljack and Brawn, and you can see straight away, despite being one of the largest figures in robot mode, really compresses into a rather stubby looking vehicle. Of course here next to Brawn, the smallest Deluxe out of the bunch, he's in fact exactly the same size as this guy, so that definitely is quite surprising. As mentioned, the transformation is by far the most intricate here with Ratchet, and just very quickly showcasing how he looks here alongside Wheeljack, you can see this guy is in fact a little bigger than Ratchet, which is really surprising to say, but once more, super awesome, and I just really hope that we can in fact see a concept version of Sideswipe introduced into this, and of course a few other characters, as these so far have just been so nicely done. So some final thoughts for this Transformers Studio Series Bumblebee movie. Deluxe class Ratchet, overall much like the previous figures, another knockout. I love how this guy looked in robot mode, incredibly accurate to those unfortunate very brief seconds that we actually saw of him from the Solo movie. I think the design is so well done, it's been replicated so well here in this Deluxe format. Unfortunately there are a few hollow spaces, but considering that he is a larger Deluxe, I can definitely understand that, and also due to transformation some of those hollow spaces are indeed actually warranted. In regards to articulation, he's very posable, much like the previous figures, comes with a wicked Cybertronian alien blaster which looks fantastic, and the transformation, despite being on the more complex and involved side, is actually really fun to go through. It's definitely a very different process when in comparison to some of the other Cybertronian characters, and definitely way different than any of the other Studio Series offerings that we've gotten released so far, and I think the vehicle mode is once again really nice. As mentioned previously, this is in fact a complete concept idea these guys never converted in the film, so I really love what Hasbro have come up with. This definitely looks as if though it could be perhaps a futuristic Cybertronian lunar cruiser, and I love how he blends in with some of the other Autobots that I showcased in the comparison. So with all that being said, if you're a fan of some of the previous figures you've seen from this wave, then Ratchet here is without a doubt a must-have. Of course, he's probably one of the biggest names in this Deluxe class, that being Ratchet, so you really are going to have to add him to the collection if you're a fan of the Studio Series, the Bumblebee movie, and of course these actual Bumblebee movie Cybertronian characters. I'd love to know down in the comment section below on what you guys think of the figure as well as the review. We do in fact have one more Bumblebee movie character to in fact take a look at, that being the core class Ravage, so be sure to stay tuned for that review, and as always I thank you guys all so much for watching. Until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.